Your ancestors died for your right to vote. How y'all doing? Y'all good? Y'all chilling? What's good, you guys? Your boy Deal to the MO. Back at it like a crack addict with these mathematics off fabrics on do course steady. And we here with another reaction, man. This is more on a serious tip, a little something. Figure Disney. But it's called, this is by Middle Nation. Salute. The Election Ritual, the Illusion of American Democracy. To me, we lost real democracy right after John F. Kennedy passed. Well, was assassinated. You feel me? So we've been having this illusion of choice for a long time. And the main reason it's an illusion of choice is because they want us to be button heads. See, on the left side is more radical, weirdo behavior. On the right side is more religious behavior. Feel me? Now, I lean, if I was to lean on a side, which I don't, but if I was to, I'll be on the right side because I believe that it's most values and principles putting God first and we supposed to be living virtuous, upstanding lifestyle. Feel me? As human beings. We shouldn't be beefing over, we shouldn't be pushing sex and all that weirdo shit on kids, gay on kids. We shouldn't be around promoting Marxism in America. It don't make no sense. Like you feel me? But anyway, they probably break it down here. If you rock with the content, please like, comment, subscribe. If you want me to review or react to one of your videos, put it in the comments, man. Let's get into it. It might ruffle some feathers. I don't give a like, keep it a bean. I don't care about none of that.
Well, it's divide and conquer. I mean, if you wonder why American society is so divided, I mean, divided in so many ways. It isn't just that the divides are deep, it's that the divides are so many.
Yes.
Black and white, race against race, advocates of this issue against opponents of this issue, even men against women and women against men.
Yes.
There isn't a single category within that society that doesn't have some corresponding nemesis. It's just divide and conquer, playing out domestically. And Democrats and Republicans is just another one of these divisions because the country has been conquered by corporate economic imperialists. Look, I don't care who you vote for in November because power doesn't care who you vote for in November.
Talk.
I've said it before. If you imagine that unelected power of the private sector is...
And one thing I'm starting to realize once I start doing a deep dive of what's going on here, because this is this is nothing new. This is like the fall of Rome and all that. We start beefing with each other, beefing about women, men. We start beefing with the gay. It's nothing new under the sun, right? I'm thinking now, Trump supporters don't kill me because I like Trump as well. You feel me? But I'm believing he was pushed to be president on purpose. Now, hear me out. The reason he is because he gave us hope that somebody who's really a real stand up dude will fight for the American people. So his term, he did a great job. Respectfully, I ain't gonna sit here and lie like he didn't do a great job. But that just got more people and more eyes on elections, and now it's more beef. Now it's more beef. Think about it, the Trump versus Kamala Harris situation. We beefing with each other. Now I don't with Kamala at all. Like you feel me? But I'm looking at it from a broad standpoint, as in it's more division than it was ever now. Like you feel me? I'm not talking about back of course the '60s and all that. We ain't gonna get into that. But the vision has been upped a lot. Like you feel me? So yeah, man, it is. That's just my opinion. Feel me? If you don't believe me or you want to argue with me, come on, put it in the comments. Feel me? I know I always respond to comments. It don't matter if it's a good, bad. It don't matter. Let's have this conversation because the conversation is needed.
going to entrust the public with deciding how things are going to be run and who's going to run things, then you're living in a fantasy. It's absurd. America has subverted, sabotaged, and strangled democracies all around the world.
Facts.
They've been interfering with, tampering
Rest in
with,
peace,
rigging
Gaddafi.
elections across the globe for decades, from Haiti to Honduras, from Italy to Iran, from Syria to South Africa.
He ain't lying.
They've toppled governments, assassinated elected officials, fixed elections, bribed and bullied and bulldozed democracies on every continent for a century.
And killed.
They don't think that any population in any country in the world can be trusted to elect leaders who will safeguard the interests of the American elite. So what makes you think that they're going to trust you with that power? They rig elections and install whoever they want in country after country, but somehow you think that they're not going to do that in your country.
Woo!
Well, how naive can you be? Listen, the
Naivete.
election cycle in America is nothing but a mechanism for what you can call the campaign industrial complex, whereby billions upon billions of dollars of contributions, your money, are funneled into the private sector. I mean, when you donate to a politician, or you donate.
He's not lying. Look at all these corporations that back these candidates. These candidates are slaves to these corporations and the globalist elite. You could tell, bro. Look, think about, all right, perfect example, right? When Trump got out of office, the first thing motherfuckers did was go to war and start putting money into Ukraine versus Russia. First thing they did, feel me? And then right before the cycle end, let's start funneling money into Israel versus Hamas versus Palestine. Rest in peace to all people all innocent people who fell to those to the wars on both sides, from Russia, Ukraine to Israel and Palestine as well. 'Cause that's messed up. Innocent lives are dying because of these globalist elite savages. These people are savages, bro. And then we over here picking sides. Did you know? That Israel funded Hamas? Why would they do that? Same thing when we want to go back to 9/11, when we found out that Bin Laden was a CIA agent at one point,
Allegedly, that's ignorant.
who was set to go over there to what Iran and all that. Feel me? He was set up to be over there. Feel me? And then now he's the biggest terrorist in the world. We got to go against him, when we all really know, if you really look at the 9/11 footage and the history of it, it was the Israel, I ain't gonna say the other part, that set up that whole situation.
Allegedly.
Feel me? So we could go over there and to take oil and all that other resources, because we don't got no resources. We got resources here. You feel me? But that's all we do over here. I mean, in America, not us as the citizens, of course. For the powers that be in America, that's all they do is take from other places, and then we walk around like we're the best country ever. we are part. It's sad because we are a part of it. Our tax dollars our tax dollars got so much blood on it from other countries, even our own people. Feel me? You think Americans haven't assassinated on Americans? Anyway, shut up, that
To a candidate, where do you think that money goes? It goes directly to business.
Facts.
You're not doing anything but increase the revenue streams of consultancies, ad agencies, analytics firms, PR firms, media companies, social media companies, digital marketing agencies, events coordinators, on and on.
Yep.
This is nothing but the public providing basically an economic stimulus package to unproductive industries.
Woo!
It's a wealth transfer.
He's
That you
talking
yourselves are participating in.
all the
You're
time.
literally just donating money to the private sector and getting nothing in return.
Facts.
Getting nothing in return except that you get to watch the most expensive fan fiction movie about democracy ever produced.
That's a ball. Woo! That's a ball.
Look at the Democrats. Kamala Harris was just appointed as the nominee. She wasn't voted for.
Facts.
This is straight up succession, not election. There were no primaries. She hasn't had to outline her policy platform.
She
and
just
no one
came
needs
in.
her to do that.
She just came in, and then the first thing she do, just like Hillary Clinton and all them do, is pander to the black people. Feel me? She been Indian her whole life. Feel me? She never even talked about the Jamaican side. Feel me? But you know, I'm gonna do a video. Candace Owens did some research about her, Kamala's family and all that. So she not, man, I ain't gonna get into that. But you see what happened? Like, nobody voted for her to be in this position. Feel me? But you know what they using as the propaganda? Oh, she might be the first woman president. Women think they so what's that called? They think they so enslaved and they getting abused and beat up by the patriarchy. We all are. like, you feel me? You think it's natural for men and women to be working 40, 50, 60 hours a week just to barely pay your fucking bills? We all slaves to the system. Welcome to the system. It's a Tom McDonald song for everything. Let me continue.
All she has to do is to not be Donald Trump. This is the logic of demonization versus policy debate as a campaign strategy.
What's the policies?
No candidate has to win your approval as long as the whole election is framed in the lesser of two evils scenario.
Facts.
And what's the point of that? To make the pre-programmed win seem plausible. That's all. And to not leave any opening for dissent to manifest that might make the win seem implausible.
That's why when Trump was in office, they did every smear campaign. So when Biden, who's a proven evil motherfucker as a politician, this is proven. Feel me? He signed the 94, helped sign in a 94 crime bill that did what? 94 or 93? Whatever year that was. The crime bill that helped get mad black people locked the fuck up. And poor whites, because we don't really talk about that because they was into the drug shit too. And poor whites locked the fuck up for minimal. I mean, for like long ass sentences, even if it's like a little dime of weed, 10 years. I'm like, whoa,
That nigga is guilty.
what? Feel me? Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? You know what I mean? But you know when people do, they forget all that because they've been programmed by society and the propaganda machines to be like, oh, Donald Trump was mad evil. Look what he did. He said, grab a woman by the coochie. You know men talk like that? We talk like that. Like, you feel me? Now, are we going to go outside and do it? No. Of course we're not going to do that. See, there's not even no safe spaces for men to talk now. Because men being men is misogynist. Shit. Drop my shit. It's toxic misogyn. I mean, what's that? Toxic masculinity. That's what it's called now. Men being men and talking the way we talk is toxic masculinity now. If you raise your voice and have some passion in it, oh, you're yelling, you're screaming, you're trying to take my rights away. What are you talking about, bitch? Go color your hair back to brown or blonde. You blue-headed bastard. Oh my God, bro. Sorry.
Because, for instance, if voters actually have demands of this candidate or that candidate, and the candidate fails to address those demands, then it could cast doubt upon their eventual victory.
Facts.
And inevitably, if a candidate does address voter demands, well, that will always end up alienating some other faction of voters. So we don't talk about issues. We don't talk about how to deal with issues. We just rally behind our party's candidate in lockstep. Because the other party's candidate is literally the devil incarnate. When you're operating in the lesser of two evils framework, you're always going to have decidedly low expectations of your chosen candidate. And that's perfect
God, bro.
when the election is already fraudulent in the first place. So this uncomplicates the rigging process. Yes, I said rigging, and don't think for a second. Don't you imagine
it's always
that that's
rigged,
a conspiracy
bro.
theory?
It's not a
conspiracy elections. But between 1946 and 2000, America is documented to have interfered with, tampered with, malignly influenced, or outright rigged at least 88 elections from Europe to Latin America to Asia to Africa. So again, if you think...
and then when Trump said that, when he was in office, they spent the narrative, no, it was Russia. What? Russia? Russia got through it. It's Russia propaganda. We didn't elect nothing. Okay, bro. Like, come on, bro.
They'll do this everywhere else, but your so-called democracy is pristine. I would have to ask you why you think so. Why would it be more important to the power structure to control the outcome of an election in, say, Guyana, than it would be for them to control the outcome of an election in the United States of America?
Don't make no sense.
Yes, Guyana is one of the countries where America rigged elections in the past.
Facts.
I'm telling you, I don't care who you vote for, because power doesn't care who you vote for.
Woo!
Because the outcome is not determined by you.
It's a ball.
You know, Biden stepped aside because his pre-programmed victory could never be convincing. But look, Biden himself, the fact of Biden, a man who is literally in late-stage senility, a man who is visibly disintegrating before our eyes, the very fact that he was not only president, but was absolutely going to be run for another term, despite being a cadaver on strings, that should let you know that power does not reside in that office.
It don't.
Politicians serve two functions. The first is to distract you with the performance of democratic government, and the second is to be effigies that can be burned to satisfy public anger when the policies dictated by the private sector impose misery on the population.
Woo, he's
So when
talking.
an American asks me who should they vote for, or when they say that this one is better than that one, or at least not as bad as that one, and what do I think, and so on and so on and so on. Well, you may as well be asking me about which Marvel superhero is better than the other, because you're not talking to me about figures who have any real significance with regards to policy.
He's not
You're
lying.
not talking to me about figures who actually exert any control over anything. You're not talking about the real existing power structure. You're asking me to give you an opinion about a fictional scenario in which your government wields independent power. As long as you're fixated on this charade,
I hope this
there's
man's
no
still
danger
alive.
whatsoever of you ever having any impact on policy. You're just facilitating and collaborating with the divide and conquer tactics of the owners and controllers of global financialized capital.
That's a ball. On God,
And I don't know how you could be so propagandized, to be honest.
it's it. I could tell you, brother, man. I could tell you, people don't read no more. People are of the hive mindset. So if this group thinks this, I'm gonna be a part of it. Since I'm a part of this group, I gotta think this way. I could talk to my group in particular, right? Brothers and sisters, black people. Feel me? Of all shades, races. I mean, all shades, creeds, Caribbean, African. Feel me? A lot of us have this hive mindset of I have to vote Democrat because the Democrats did. And then if you are a black man or woman that sits here and says, "Nah, I vote Republican because this policy is this, that," they'll sit there and ostracize you, disrespect you, come at you. You know how much times I got into arguments over Kamala Harris? Like, you feel me? With my old people. Like, yo, but you don't like black women. What? When did I say that? Like, bro, she's not black. She's not. You know, feel me? She wasn't raised black. She don't respect black people. She said in one of her joints, I think it was an interview.
The power I have as a prosecutor is that with a swipe of my pen, I can charge someone with a misdemeanor, the lowest level offense possible. And by virtue of that swipe of my pen, you will have to go to a courthouse and stand in line. You will have to come out of pocket and hire an attorney. You may get arrested for a few hours. You will be embarrassed in your community. You will miss time from coming onto the Google campus. All because with the swipe of my pen, I've charged you with a crime, which I may choose to dismiss 2 weeks later. It's an incredible amount of power.
Like, you know how evil that sounds? Like, with the swipe of this pen, somebody's going down for a long time. That's evil. Like, you feel me? Like, you want that in office? Feel me? Of course, we all know it's bullshit. Like, you feel me? But I'm just saying, in general, would you want that person? Donald Trump already went back and forth with these leaders. He had deals with them. There was no wars. But you want Kamala Harris, who don't even know how to speak properly, who's not a very intellectual human being, who's always tripping over her words. I'm one to talk, I trip over my words a lot. But if we're talking about the highest place in the land, why would we want her to be that? She don't speak. She haven't spoke for 4 years. Wasn't she supposed to be the ones in the control of the border? But look what happened to the border. But you want her, who's been in power for the last 4 years, not Donald Trump, with Joe Biden. You want her to be the leader because I believe he's too angry. He don't know how to talk to people. He's a businessman, my boy. Feel me? When he was in office, he did business with these countries, and then there was no smoke. Like, you feel me? But that's if you believe in the illusion of democracy, of course. But I'm just saying. I digress.
How you so propagandized that you can't even notice that actually your own media does tell you every day that the government is not in charge. I mean, how many times have you read or how many times have you heard in the media, the market will decide?
What does that even mean?
What the market does and so on. Well, when they say the market, they don't mean you and I. They mean big business, multinational corporations, asset managers, stock market whales, not voters, not citizens, not Democrats, and not Republicans. You live in an oligarchy.
Yes.
And your so-called democracy is only performed as a distraction to keep you from noticing that fact.
Yes.
Now, for this election in the U.S., as I've said, Harris and Trump are just mascots representing two different factions of the OCGFC. And it's going to be just like what happened in Venezuela.
Excuse me.
The only way that Trump can win is by trying to out-rig the election rigging of the Democrats. But the Democrats are the incumbents, like Maduro was.
Woo!
So they have the advantage of overseeing the succession, and Harris is likely to win. The only thing that Trump can do is to try to boost his own popularity to the point that Harris's pre-programmed victory looks less plausible.
No, it made no
But like I
sense.
said before, it's not musical chairs where both candidates are walking in circles around the chair until the music stops, and then they have to race for the seat.
It's not that
Kamala
at
is
all.
already in the seat, just like Maduro, and it's harder to get someone out of that seat than it is to just sit in it. So it looks like the neocons will probably stay in the White House. And that just means that the real battle between the military-industrial complex OCGFC and the global-oriented OCGFC, that battle is just going to go on a while longer. But if you're fool enough to think that you have to drop everything in order to ensure that Kamala Harris will win and Trump will lose, well, then you're literally like someone who can watch those old Roadrunner cartoons and still get worried and anxious about whether or not the coyote is going to catch him. I mean, I know it's important.
That's a nice analogy, my boy. We know that nigga ain't gonna catch him. Like, we know. But it always ends the same way. My son Roadrunner always outsmarts everybody. And we fall for that shit all the fucking time. And then you know what they do, especially to the brothers and sisters, you know what they do to gaslight you in my community? You know what they say to you? Your ancestors died for your right to vote.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
No, nigga, my ancestors just died because they the system is evil. Like, they ain't died for my right to vote. They died. Feel me? They just died, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Now, did they die fighting for our rights? Cool. I respect that. I love my ancestors for that. But you ain't gonna sit here and try to gaslight me. Your ancestors died for your right to vote. Suck my dick. No, they didn't. Feel me? That's what they told you. Feel me? Not ancestors, of course. That's what they told you, so you could keep hearing voting and thinking you doing something. You dumb mother. Sorry.
Important for you to think that you have some kind of control. But the truth is, the reality is, you're not writing this story.
Facts.
And you're not writing how this story goes. And as long as you think that you are writing how this story goes or participating in it in any way whatsoever, then that just ensures that you will always be nothing but a spectator. Unless and until you redirect your activism towards the private sector, and I mean organize and mobilize with the understanding that, for example, corporations are political entities.
Yep.
So treat them as such, deal with them as such, impose expectations and demands upon them as such. Unless and until you do that, all your get out the vote initiatives, all your campaigning, all your voting will never do anything for social and political change except to ensure that it won't happen. Boeing, for example, just used your government to make around $20 billion. Boeing, Raytheon, and all the other merchants of death and destruction. They just got $20 billion of your money to keep the genocide going in Gaza. That's their policy. Zionism is their policy. Genocide is their policy, and they're doing it for money.
He's talking.
And they give almost evenly to the Democrats as they do to the Republicans, except they give slightly more to the Democrats.
Yeah, it's because it's easier to fool people on the Democrat
And it's
side.
almost even between what they give to Kamala Harris and to Donald Trump. They contributed a bit more to Harris.
Yeah.
I shouldn't actually say contribute, I should say invest, because they give that money as an investment from which they expect astronomical returns, which they will get.
No
These
matter
are
what.
the entities that control your policy. It's not your ballot, it's their billions. Your government.
It's not. God damn, I keep fucking dropping this damn mouse. It's not your ballot. It's their billions. That's a yo. He been spit. Yo, he dropped the hardest mixtape in 12 minutes. Nah, he's cooking. He's cooking, but he ain't lying.
Is captured, and your country has been captured, and power and decision making has been transferred from the public sector to the private sector.
Yep.
Your laws and your policies are written by corporate lawyers, not by congressmen.
And let's keep it 100. Like, because he's talking about the private sector. Like, remember, most of our prisons is private owned and run prisons. So you think when you go into a courtroom, feel me, that you really getting judged by your peers? No, they need to fill them jails up. And Kamala Harris was a part of filling the jails up. Feel me? So of course they're gonna put the money behind her because she already a part of the system, nigga. She already a part of the system that fucks everybody over. Like, you feel me? Like, come on, bro. Like, people don't be. If you put two and two together, bro. Like, just think about it, bro. they want us to believe, right, that if a Caucasian man does a crime, they gonna get less time, right? Now, in some cases, these are facts, right? But it's usually in a case of the Caucasian man father or mother is a part of some law firm or some dumb shit like that, so they bump head. Then you rub shoulders, like, you feel me? So now, if that mandatory 10 years, you're gonna cut down to 2.5 with some a little bit of probation, probably not even probation. It's because they rub shoulders with somebody, right? Or they know somebody higher up. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does happen. Like, you feel me? It does happen a lot. But my point is this. The legal system is funded by the private prison system, right? So if they funded by the private prison system, everybody's gonna get locked up. Like, you feel me? Maybe for little shit, you gonna get locked up. You wanna know why? Because they get bread for every time a bed is booked up in the jails. And then those same private prisons put money into the other corporations, and then put it into the politics. Come on, bro. It's a game. You ain't in it. Shout out to George Carlin.
Your democracy has actually become like the British monarchy.
It's a club.
It's just an empty tradition. You go out to vote the same way that British people will go out and line the streets just to watch the king pass by on a horse and carriage.
Dumb shit.
It's just a nod to the lore and heritage of your society. It's a ritual that has no real significance beyond the psychological and the emotional. It's a collective, society-wide, self-soothing gesture.
Woo!
America is a corporate authoritarian system cosplaying as a democracy.
Woo!
And everybody around the world sees you. You people who are campaigning for Trump or campaigning for Harris, everyone around the world sees you as someone who's like at a cosplay event and dressed up like Iron Man, but who actually thinks that the buttons on his costume work.
Talk!
We have to elect Trump, or the meteor is going to destroy the earth. We have to elect Harris, or multi-dimensional aliens will kill us all. They're really invested in the fantasy storyline. But nobody in the world thinks that your democracy exists except for you. Because we know all too well what your democracy looks like when you export it to us. And you have the same one that you sent us, which means that you don't have one either. Look, you are not constituents of politicians, you're constituents of companies, and you need to organize yourselves along these lines. Democratize private sector power. At some point, your activism and your strategy has to actually be informed by the real existing power dynamics in your society, not just by the official version of the power structure that they taught you in civics class. Until you do that, I'm telling you that the harder you work for this party or the harder you work for that party,
dumb shit,
well, you're doing nothing but fortify and reinforce your own disenfranchisement and your own irrelevance.
This brother
is what $1,000 gets.
Nigga, I don't give a fuck about Vietnam, nigga. Salute to Middle Nation. Salute to this brother right here. I don't know what's his name. What is his name? I want to know his name. Shahid. Brother Shahid. Salute to you, brother. Appreciate you, brother, for opening people's eyes. You opening my eyes a lot of shit to this now, too. But what y'all think about this, man? What y'all think about this? Put it in the comments. I like this. These conversations need to be had, bro. Because we really be sitting here like, I gotta vote for this person. I gotta vote for this person when it don't matter. And that's why I'm telling you, I believe Trump was put in office the first time around. Now, mind you, I've been a Trump supporter, like, you feel me? But I believe he was put in office the first time around just to give the people hope and get more people jumping on board. And then on top of that, if he was put in office to cause more of a division, because remember how the media portrayed him. They portrayed him as racist and these neo-Nazis and all this other shit. Now everybody divided. And remember during that same time, even though it happened during the Obama time too, Black Lives Matter came into a bigger resurgence and started destroying their own communities and all that. You feel me? So it's division. Which I think, man. But anyway, it's your boy Deal to the MO. Remember, check your up. Peace. Let me tell you, can't do out here. Be the best version of you. You can be. Protect these kids. Protect yourself from the virus. And always remember, the government is your boy. I love you. I love you. I love you. Peace. Yeah, man. Y'all notice ever since I started, my mantra at the end is always the same. F the government, bro. And I stand on that. I stand on that respectfully.